What's up, guys? It's your boy OmegaXVI, and in the last few weeks I've been making build videos, my predictions for Solar 3.0, my favorite Void 3.0 class, and last but not least Arc 3.0, which is 50-50 shot between Arc and Solar, so I need to be prepared. And I've been testing a build, and I think this is what I'm gonna go with. I'm not a big fan of Arc. I never really have been. I've always been a Bubble Titan main, but you always have to be prepared, especially when the next season could revolve around that. Disclaimer that this build is obviously incomplete depending on what the aspects and fragments are, but that's just kind of common sense. But I thought I'd get it out of the way, so let's kind of get into the build. So you can see a lot of things on the screen. The two focuses, I would say, on this build are the Risk Runner and Divinity for the weapon side, and the Heart of Innermost Light for the second side. This build is all about synergy. Abilities buffing your damage and your weapons buffing your abilities. I'll explain a little bit more when I get more in depth with the mods, but in general you'll see the theme of synergy in the build. I'm running the Code of the Missile. It just seems like a no-brainer right now. Obviously, as I said earlier in the disclaimer, we don't know what the class will look like if it is Arc next season. But general rule of thumb, this is how it's been working for me. Another thing, I prefer grenades over powered melees. Just in general, I think they do more damage over time, and it's just a better way of controlling the flow of things. But you can obviously sub out for a melee build. Now, as you see, I'm running Risk Runner for the majority of the clips that I'll show in the video. The Fortissimo with Osmosis is a great secondary DPS if you are out of rocket ammo. It's really good at melting things with high health, because you'll be averaging 40,000 per crit since it is a slug shotgun, and you'll see that in the clips later. But it's always good to have something with Osmosis as a secondary, just so it benefits from one of the buffs. So if I go into the helmet mods, let's just start with the wall slot, elemental armaments. Anytime you use a weapon that is your subclass, you have an exponential chance of spawning a well. So every time you don't get a kill, the higher the chance becomes. Since you'll be using melee quite a bit in this, as Heart of Innermost Light buffs it, you get bonus super energy on melee kills. It just seems like a no-brainer to get your super back faster. And Harmonic Siphon to generate orbs of power for yourself and your teammates for Charge with Light mods, any leg pieces that, you know, give bonuses like health regen on or pickup or grenade or melee. It really is a jack of all trades when you're generating stuff. Now let's go to the arm mods. If you are going for a melee build, you would probably swap this out for Focusing Strike if you're running Void on your gauntlets. They both basically do the same thing. Anytime you damage an enemy with that specific ability, you get class ability back. Generally helpful when you're putting down barricades, just to, you know, provide cover, and to cycle through your Heart of Innermost Light mods. Overload rounds will be gone, but Element Ordnance will stay. So anytime you get a grenade kill, you have a chance of spawning an elemental well. See how basically every time you generate a well, you get ability back, so you just keep basically spamming abilities to cycle through DPS and getting a damage buff. Now, right here is the piece de resistance for your weapons. Since you'll be generating a lot of wells, you get a 10-second damage buff to weapons of your subclass. And if you noticed, Arc with Osmosis, Arc, they all get damage buffs. And anytime you pick up a well, you get the timer reset. So usually the gameplay loop is spawn a well, use a weapon, use an ability, repeat. Now, underrated pick of any build, bountiful wells. Anytime that you could spawn a well, you can spawn two. And if you use additional ones, let's say you wanted to focus on using your weapons as a sole source of getting wells, your first spawn will give you, I think it's one additional per elemental well mod. I could be wrong. I will edit the video later if I find newer information, but on additional, it gives you two. So anytime I generate it with my weapon, my grenade, and last but not least, my melee, I will get 2 wells. And there is a cooldown in how fast you can spawn wells, but that really doesn't matter. So 2 for the price of 1 is a lot better. And if you play it out right, you can technically have your damage buff stacking for quite a while, because if you pick up 1 and then you go when the timer is half or a little bit less and you're close enough to a well, pick it up, you're back at 10. And I have my last perk, because I prefer grenades, Bomber. It gives me grenade energy on class usage, so it just keeps buffing all the things that I like. As you'll see in the clips, a lot of this synergizes well, and I think I've talked about the build enough, so let's get into the clips. See ya.